Welcome back to Gamer in the Wardrobe, where I play games in the comfort of my closet. We're doing Equilibrium Set 5 Alpha Clash Spoiler Season Week 1 recap. Full transparency, I have not read thoroughly through these, so I'm going to read through them. We're going to get a good idea of what the card does, and then I'm going to maybe explain how my brain thinks it's going to work with what we currently know. So, though we are just weeks into Genesis Return set release, spoiler season for Equilibrium is here, releasing March 28th worldwide. The 5th set release for Alpha Clash TCG promises to bring much excitement, amazing artwork, and fantastic gameplay. RES, Rising Empire Studios, officially kicked things off at ClashCon in Charlotte, North Carolina, with 8 card reveals over the course of 3 days. We got a glimpse at 5 contenders, the first Clash buff reveal, a double-sided iconic rare contender, and the first ever X-Ray card. Team Covenant rolled out 8 more spoilers as well on their show this week, so fans got to see the first legendary card, Clarity Warhammer. So we'll go over that in a second. Let's see what was shown to us at ClashCon. The first thing would be the iconic rare. So for those of you just getting into this game, iconic rare is like an alternate art of a card. I'll go over the rarities. It's common, uncommon, rare, epic, iconic rare, legendary, gold foil, alpha rare. And then they're also going to be adding an X-ray into this, which I assume will probably be like on a legendary scale. So somewhere in there. So there's a couple of rarities here. Iconic rare, typically there's 1 guaranteed per box. I kind of count this as 2 because this is a dual-sided contender. This is Clarity Defender of All and Clarity Deadly Duelist. So this is the other side of that card. You have the Deadly Duelist, and then you have Clarity Defender of All. So the first spoiled card, we're going to take a second to kind of review. It's a 20 health contender. On the white side, she is Clarity of Earth, but on the black side, she is Clarity Death of Evelon. So she is actually a Death contender on this side, and then a Clarity on that side. Clarity Defender of All, this contender starts the game on this side. At 20 health, during your primary phase, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, flip this card. If this card has flipped this turn, you may not activate this effect. So you can't like continually discard and flip. Whenever you play a non-clash card, for the first time each turn, this contender gains 1 health. When you flip to this side, draw 1 card. At 15 or lower health, so that's actually interesting. So this is a 20 health contender, but she unlocks her second ability at 15, which is actually extremely strong. A lot of guys have to go down, so she gets there really quickly. So I could imagine her potentially swinging in to get to those extra benefits, and then the ability allows her to heal back up. So kind of an interesting synergy there, just reading this for the first time. At 15 and lower, so she still has the first ability, but the first time this contender gains 1 or more health during your turn, foretell 2 cards. Pretty cool, because she gains health when you flip to her. So basically, you flip to her, she gains health, and you foretell too. So kind of cool synergies there. I'm kind of digging that. And then the other side of the Clarity IR contender is whenever this contender would take clash damage from a clash card, deal that much damage plus 1 instead. Okay, so if I were to swing in with like interesting, because she's a 2 attack, 0 defense. So I was going to say if I were to swing in with a 1/2 Haven, my Haven would die. But in theory, the Haven would deal 2 damage instead of 1 because it's that damage plus 1. And it's from a clash card, so contenders don't get the plus 1, which is, something to note. 20 health, black contender, 2 attack, 0 defense, Death from Evelon, Harbinger. Whereas I think the Clarity was a rogue. Yeah, so rogue, and then she flips to the Harbinger. So a lot of interesting things going on with this first card reveal. At 20, during your primary phase, you may banish a card from your Oblivion. If you do, flip this card. If this card has flipped this turn, you may not activate this effect. So you can't, again, activate it more than once. Whenever this contender deals clash damage to an opposing contender, you may target a non-clash buff action card in your Oblivion. If you do, you may play that action until the start of your next turn. Cards played this way cost black and white one black, one white less, and are banished after their effects resolve. Interesting. So you can, in theory, discard a non-clash buff action card into your Oblivion and then play it, kind of like that one Kilimanjaro thing where it's like, oh, discard a card and then I can play a card from your Oblivion, but this just works with your Oblivion and then you banish it after the effect. So pretty cool. I could see how that could be pretty strong. There's a couple of action non-clash buff action cards in black and white that I can think of that could be really, really good. But I assume this set's going to reveal more of those options for clarity. So kind of a cool effect. And then something to note, the white clarity on the white side gets her ability at 15. This clarity gets her ability at 12. And this says engage clash card you control. Engaged clash cards you control can't be sent to Oblivion by opponent card effects. Wow. Okay. So if I have a way to protect my clash cards, so I swing, and I have a way to potentially protect them, you have to basically kill them by dealing damage. The send to Oblivion effects no longer have an effect on that while you're on black under 12. That's pretty cool. So I could see a lot of stuff happening with this clarity. She seems extremely versatile, where you can play her white-black. You could probably play her all white, or all black, or splash something in there. I know right now in the meta, ramping is extremely critical, so you'll probably have to slot in at least 10 blue cards, unless other contenders find ways to ramp. But pretty cool effect. You have defense on the white side, you have extreme aggro on the other with 2 attacks, 0 defense, but then you can flip from that side to go back to this side to gain a health, and draw a card. So could be fun to mess with. I'll see what I can do. And then let's just stop to appreciate the art on this thing. Like, look at the IR art. That hammer and the daggers that the Black Death's holding. Like, I assume these are going to be attachable contender weapons, with these daggers and potentially the hammer. But that is just, the art is stunning. Great job to Chao Kasua. I probably terribly butchered that, but great work on these. I really, really like them. Okay, next reveal is going to be Major Dean leading the Elite. This is a 25 health contender. And for those of you maybe just hopping in, contenders are like your champion cards, or your hero cards. They're not cards that are like played from your hand. They're the cards that start the game on the field, and they're like your champions or your heroes, right? And he has at 25 health trigger portal. You may engage this contender. If you do, draw a card. If you control 2 or more Alpha Hunters, that's what that symbol is. He's an Alpha Hunter from Earth, Major Dean. If you have 2 or more Alpha Hunter Clash cards, you may choose one. Alpha Hunter Clash cards you control with a weapon attached get +1/+0 until the end of the turn. Alpha Hunter Clash cards you control get +1 or +0/+1 until the end of the turn. Or ready target engaged Alpha Clash card and it can't attack this turn. Okay, interesting. This is the first contender we're really seeing portal control. So that's unique. That the trigger the portal is something on a contender card. Definitely allows for a different perspective of how to run and manage a game. And then below 10, not a fan of that. 25 health contender that has a below 10 ability. Like, I feel like 25 and 15 is a nice sweet spot, but at 10, I don't know. It seems like it's going to be a rough go to actually get this off without dying the next turn. Unless it's wildly overpowered, I don't see how it's going to have really much of an effect on a game. But let's see what it says. At 10, trigger portal, you may engage this contender. If you do, your next time you attach a weapon to an Alpha Hunter Clash card you control this turn, that card gets breakthrough until end of turn. Okay, so I could see that working pretty well with like Suit Up and the power armor and like those heavy things. It's kind of like a trigger portal. You may engage this contender. If you do, the next time you attach. The next time, okay. So you trigger the portal. You swing with something with the heavy power armor. You find a way to attach it to another Alpha Hunter. and then they get breakthrough. Yeah, if I were to rate, I'll rate these contenders. How about that? I'm going to rate these contenders. I would say the Clarity contender has potential to be an A-tier deck if piloted properly with some support. She already has a lot of Clarity cards, a lot of rogues and whites and blacks and deaths, and so I would put Clarity at an A-plus tier. I'm going to put Major Dean, unless someone proves me wrong, at like a low C, high D tier. I don't think this one's going to get a lot of play. That's just my opinion. Prove me wrong. First Clash buff is Streaking. This is a blue Clash buff and can only be played with blue contenders. Put a streak counter on target attacking or defending Clash card you control. That Clash card gets +1/+0 until the end of turn. Okay. Until the end of turn is interesting. Because in theory, there's a lot of ways you can ready and restand cards. So it's not just until the end of the Clash, it's until the end of the turn, and it gets a streak counter. So I don't know. This could be spicy. This could definitely be a spicy card. And one thing to note, it's 0 cost, which we haven't seen since the 0 cost ones were banned from set 1. So that could be spicy. You know, Mean Streak might get a glow up here in set 5. I'm a Mean Streak boosted fan. I think he's a very good contender, very hyper aggro. This card could be a really, really good way to unlock a lot of my abilities and maybe even play a couple more Mean Streaks in that deck versus all rogues. So, spicy card. Okay, this one's going to take a second. This is Alpha Aster, the Big Daddy Aster. He is I think that's blue. It's almost like a dark blue-black, but I'm pretty sure that's blue, which is crazy because blue has some of the best Clash buffs in the game. 30 health, which is also crazy. A 30 health contender with +1 defense. Oh boy, I get it. He's Alpha Aster. But damn. Okay, Alpha Aster the Omnipotent at 30 health. This is going to take a second. He doesn't have a second ability, but he always has this ability on. If the portal is open, this contender gets +1/+1. So ultimately, if the portal's closed, he's 1 defense. If the portal's open, he's 1 attack. So you can find ways to open the portal and get damage in and get rid of that. But a 30 health contender that has the ability to be a 1 defense is kind of nuts. I'm already, just based on those stat lines, putting him as an S tier, high A S tier contender. He's also blue, which means he's going to have really easy opportunities to use high-end Clash buffs and ramp relatively easily. So he's probably going to be an S tier contender. Probably going to see a lot of blue in set 5. Prove me wrong. Okay. Alphas and Harbinger, non-token Clash cards you control that are black, get trigger Enter. You may banish up to 1 card in each player's Oblivion. Green, get trigger Enter. You may put target card in any Oblivion second from the top of its owner's deck. Interesting. So if I have a card that dies, and I play a green card, I could then put a dead green card, just as target card. It doesn't have to be a Clash card or anything. I can put that Clash card second from the top of my deck. So I can ultimately ensure my fate in a lot of scenarios with green. White gets trigger Enter, foretell 2. Blue gets trigger Enter. You may return a Clash card with initial resource cost less than or equal to this card from the banished zone to your hand. Okay, so blue is going to work with black, it looks like. So blue-black. So you may banish up to 1 card from your Oblivion, and then play a blue card. You may return a Clash card with an initial resource cost less than or equal to the card, the card played, from your banished zone to your hand. Okay, so I play a black card. I banish a card from my Oblivion. Then I play a blue card for, let's say, 4. I can then pull a card from my Oblivion that is 4 or less resources back into my hand. Clash card. It has to be a Clash card. Kind of nutty. Okay. I think he's going to be S tier, and he has a lot of ways that you can play him. All right? And then red gets trigger Enter, draw a card, then discard a card. Woof! Okay, so the most obvious synergies to me here are going to be green-red, right? Green-red, even white-green. White-green gets you closer to that card that you potentially put back into your deck. Blue-black seems pretty obvious. I mean, there's a lot of stuff he can do. He also has a last ability. When an Alpha or Harbinger clash card you control is defeated. So not only do you have trigger enter on every card you play that's an Alpha or a Harbinger, but you also have a trigger defeat on every trigger defeat or sent to oblivion on every Alpha or Harbinger. An opponent on an opponent's turn, if the portal is open, draw a card. This ability only triggers once per turn. So if the portal's open on my opponent's turn, and it's an Alpha or a Harbinger, and they're defeated or sent to oblivion, I draw a card. That's nuts. Definitely, in my opinion, S tier. Pretty cool. Okay, so now we have the two Clash Kit contenders. So these are the ones that are going to be in the starter decks. We have Paul the Waiter, 20 health red, Alpha Hunter on Earth with 1 defense, no attack. He can obstruct. Kind of a cool little gimmick. So you can ultimately take some damage or prevent some damage by obstructing with your contender to save some clash cards, which is kind of cool. And then at 20, as long as you control an engaged clash card, this card may not be the target of the first declared attack on an opponent's turn. Also kind of cool. So, like if your opponent's running Lone Fighter and you have a card out there, as long as you control an engaged clash card, let's say you have 5 out there and 3 of them are engaged, that opponent cannot target your contender with the first declared attack. So it's kind of like Whistler in a way. Like the contender has a built-in Whistler when you engage a card on your side, any card. And it's cool it says engaged clash card. Because like if you only had 1 engaged clash card, your opponent could remove it and swing at your contender. But if you have 4 engaged, it's going to be hard for them to remove all 4 to swing at your contender for damage. So they're likely going to have to use a swing at one of your clash cards without doing damage to your contender. Which again opens up some really cool opportunities for your contender ability of obstructing. Kind of cool. And when Paul the Waiter obstructs, reveal the top card of your deck. If a non-trap accessory is revealed this way, prevent the next 2 damage that would be dealt to this contender this turn. Otherwise, prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to this contender this turn, then draw that card. Wow, okay. So basically when I obstruct, I am a 0-2 or a 0-3 for that clash, depending on what I reveal. And whatever I reveal, I draw. Pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool. He's going to have to run the Alpha Hunter package, I assume. Well, maybe not, because it can be non-trap accessories, so you could do a lot of things. I'm assuming because of some of his abilities and his archetype, he'll probably slot it into Alpha Hunter, but the thing is like this doesn't necessarily have to be Alpha Hunters with these abilities, because there's a lot of contenders that will run non-trap accessories, like Machina runs a lot of non-trap accessories. So there's a lot of decks that run non-trap accessories that could prevent more damage, and then you draw the card. So pretty cool. He's also red, which is Kill Shot and I think just Kill Shot right now, right? Heat of Battle. So hopefully red gets a nice juicy clash buff, and maybe it's like add more defense, draw a card. I don't know. Could be really cool. Imagine a red clash buff that's like +0/+2, draw a card on contender or clash card. That could make this deck real annoying to play, because every time you swing, you're basically losing that much damage you could be doing, and things are surviving, or he's obstructing to prevent you from killing a high value engaged card, stuff like that. So pretty cool. And then at 12 or less during your primary phase, you may engage this card. If you do, attach a weapon you control with an initial resource cost of 4 or less to an Alpha Hunter or Rogue Clash card you control without paying its attached cost. Okay, so pretty cool. The only thing I don't like about that is you have to engage. You have to engage Paul to use that ability, which means you then cannot obstruct on your opponent's turn. So it's a little bit of a bummer, but I could see that being a killing blow, right? Like you can do that, attach heavy power armor to the 4-drop Moxie, making her really, really big and killing something because you have now a flight and you're huge, blah, blah, blah. So I could see that being like a killing blow kind of thing, but that first ability is really, really cool. I think there's a lot of unique things you can do with him. Again, with ramp being so relevant, you're going to have to find a way to ramp or stabilize, but Pretty cool contender. And we'll talk about the X-Ray. So this is that same Clash buff, but the X-Ray foil. So that's going to be cool. I believe there's going to be 8 X-Rays or 8 Clash buffs. I don't know the exact details, but the X-Ray foils are going to be some chase cards to really bling out your deck. And then last contender revealed at ClashCon was Avenging Guy, LARPing Expert. So I don't know why, but I have like this weird affinity towards the Avenging Guy. I just like him. Maybe it's his hair color, or his beard, goatee. I'm sorry. I like the Avenging Guy. I really liked him when Avenging Guy could pull out the Whistler. Before Whistler got nerfed, I understand the nerf, but you killed me. You killed me there right before my awakening. So I kind of have an affinity for the Avenging Guy. So let's figure out what he does. He's a 25-15 contender, meaning 25, and then at 15 he gets a second ability. 1 attack, 0 defense from Earth. He's also a rogue. And during your primary phase, you may engage this card. If you do, distract. Distract is a new keyword. Distract target ready Clash card you don't control. If you control a Clash ground, that Clash card gets -2, -0 until the end of turn. Distract is that Clash card cannot obstruct the next attack this turn. So kind of cool. It's kind of like, hey, look over there. You hit something, and then it's like back to action. I could see how that could be really, really good because you're preventing your opponent. Your opponent, in theory, if you have the opportunity to do damage, can't swing. They're either going to all-out swing or they have to leave up 2 or 3 ready cards so that you can't distract them. So kind of neat. And then at 15 health, if the contender has a weapon attached, non-token Clash cards you control get +1/+0. So let's just play this out. I played a lot of rogues for Pro Tour. Hypothetically, you're running white-green or white-green-blue. You have some ramp, a lot of rogue options. You have Detroit on board, which is +0/+1 to rogues. So now all of your rogues have +1 defense. And then at 15 or less health, all of your Clash cards also get +1 attack. So effectively, with Detroit on the board and a rogue deck, you're getting +1/+1, assuming you have a contender weapon attached to all of your Clash cards. Pretty neat. I'm excited to see the contender weapons that come with this, because again, I'm an Avenging Guy person, and I kind of like the ability of this. Like it seems like it has the potential to be pretty aggro, like almost like a mid-range or like a pseudo aggro. I don't know. I don't know what this is going to be. So, but I know there's going to be a lot of cool stuff that comes out for Avenging Guy, and I'm looking forward to it. So that was everything from ClashCon. Let's go to what Team Covenant rolled out, and I think they did a really good job. I was actually in that video. If you guys didn't watch the Team Covenant video on YouTube, go look it up. It's a really cool one. They reveal all these cards, but they add some really cool commentary about their experience at Pro Tour. The direction of the game, the artwork, the style. Mad respect for Team Covenant. They rolled out 8 more spoilers as well on their show last week. Fans got to see the first legendary card, Clarity's Warhammer. Then we got to put our eyes on the first 2 promo cards reveals of Avarice, the Iridescent, a Progenitor Dragon. So Progenitors, that's actually something I probably should have pointed out, is a new class. So you have like rogues and alpha hunters and alphas and harbingers. This down here in the bottom right is the progenitor symbol. So you're going to start seeing more progenitor cards because it's almost like a new class within the game. And then the Team Covenant exclusive promo card, Clarity Bad Omen. And the art on these are just sick, guys. They're really, really cool. In order to receive these Team Covenant promos, make sure you get your booster box subscription through Team Covenant. First Clash Ground was revealed in Subway Car, and the first black Clash buff, Rank Up. Oh, it was black. I thought it was red. Rank Up looks to give Alpha Hunters more cards in their arsenal. Fan favorite Paul appears to be the newly revealed badge token, and the non-iconic version of the double-sided Clarity is here as well. So let's hop into the reveal. So Subway Car is a Clash Ground on Earth, 2 cost, 1 black pip. Trigger enter, you may search your deck for a weapon without Unrivaled with an initial resource cost of 1 or less and reveal it. Shuffle your deck, then add it to your hand. Alpha Hunter Clash cards with a weapon attached get +0/+1. Again, probably pretty good with Major Dean, pretty good with Paul, pretty much anything that's Alpha Hunter. But I could also see that being good with Machina. I could see it potentially being good with Avenging Guy, knowing that he's going to probably run some weapons. So pretty interesting, unique card that's going to allow people to add cheap weapons to their hand. And again, I instantly think of Machina, cheap weapons he can throw, or potentially Alpha Hunters, cheap weapons they can attach, so on and so forth. Okay, rank up is the first black clash buff. It costs 1, and it is black required. You may only play this card if your contender is an Alpha Hunter. You may only play this card if your contender is an Alpha Hunter. Does that mean Paul can play this card? Because it doesn't say black. You can only play this card if your contender is an Alpha Hunter. So I am going to assume here that your contender does not need to be a black contender to play this clash buff. Most of the time, buffs were required to be the color of the contender. But this does not say that. So the red Moxie, the red Paul, I believe would be able to play this card if I'm not mistaken. Comment if I'm wrong, but the way I'm reading it is Alpha Hunter contenders can play this card, even if they're not black. Kind of cool. And kind of makes sense, because you have Paul here and then you have Paul here. So I assume this is going to work pretty well with Paul. Anyway, create 1 red badge weapon accessory token and attach it to target Alpha Hunter clash card you control. Okay, so create and attach to an Alpha Hunter. Then you may attach target unattached weapon with an initial resource cost of 1 or less to that clash card. The attached clash card gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each weapon attached this way. Pretty cool. So let's look at badge real quick. So badge gives +0/+1, and you can attach 1 additional non-token weapon. Okay, so it creates a +0/+1 badge. Then you may attach target unattached weapon with an initial resource cost of 1 or less to that clash card. Okay, so you have like your Moxie sidearms, you have your Clarity 1911s, you have additional badge tokens, things like that. And every time you attach something, you get +1. So in theory, if you have a badge in your resource, a badge in your accessory zone, you play this, it creates a badge, attaches that badge, and then attaches an additional badge. Right? I believe you can have more than 1 badge. Okay, yeah, so you could, the way I'm understanding this, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you could, in theory, attach 2 badges to your guy, and it's a +2/+2 effect. Kind of cool. It has to be Alpha Hunters, but kind of cool. We'll go on to the next one. This is the clarities that we talked about, the IRs from this one. So the Death Duelist, and then the Defender of All. These are just the normal arts of them, so you can obviously see the IRs are fascinating and fantastic. These ones obviously are really good as well, but the IRs are just, they pop, for sure. We have the badge token, which we just talked about, and our boy Paul, Mr. Paul, is going to be the sponsor of it. Definitely waxed up his head for this appearance, so really looking fresh, looking fine. And then we have a really good card. This is a promo card. And I think I'm saying this right. Avarice, the Iridescent. It's a 4-cost, 3 green pip. 4-cost, 3 green pip, 3/4 from Dracaroth. Dracaroth. I think that's our first Dracaroth card. Maybe we'll see the dragons this set. Who knows? More dragons. Clash card promo, Progenitor. Exclusive, meaning you can only have 1 on the field at a time. You can have 4 in your deck, but 1 on the field at a time. When it enters, if your opponent controls more accessories than you, gain control of target accessory you don't control until this card leaves play. Okay, so your opponent has a card, you grab it, you take control of it until this card leaves play. Then, during your primary phase, you may pay 2 green and send target accessory you control to Oblivion. If you do, target clash card gets +2 in Breakthrough. So if you're playing against a deck that runs a lot of accessories, you can grab it. Let's say it's turn 6, you play this, you grab it, and for 2 more green, you send it to Oblivion, and then target clash card you control gets +2/+0 in Breakthrough. Pretty cool. I really like this because it's a nice, juicy body, a 3/4 body. for 4. Obviously, it's 3 green, but 4 for a 3/4 is already not a bad stat line. And it has a really, really unique ability that, in my opinion, Breakthrough is really, really good in this game, but there's not a lot of cards that can do it effectively or efficiently or that you can slot in, right? I actually made a pseudo Breakthrough deck that was really, really fun that was green-white that featured the Warcry Roaring something, but it's basically a 3/3 but can turn into a 5/5 and has Breakthrough. So this is kind of a cool one. I really like Breakthrough. And then let's just stop to understand the size of this dragon. I think a lot of people may miss this. This is a normal-sized dragon right here. That's a normal-sized dragon. So this is a big boy. A big boy. Big boy. All right. Clarity Bad Omen. 2 cost, 2 black. 2/3 body. This is the Team Covenant exclusive. You'll see it right here. Team Covenant exclusive is this little symbol. Death, which is going to synergize with the Death Contender. Both Death, the Death Clarity, and then the Death. So if this one were to be in your Death deck and this dies, you still get the ability because it is a Death card, which is kind of cool. I think Death might get, not Death Clarity, but Death might get a glow up this set as well. Exclusive. If an effect an opponent controls would have them draw a card outside of the draw step, that player may only draw that card if they engage 1 resource of any color. That's pretty good. It doesn't say once per turn. So if your opponent's over there like drawing cards outside of their draw step, they now have to pay to do that. And I really like, or don't like, that this is a 2/3. Because a lot of cards that have 2 defense can be deleted from the board with very little effort. But a lot of times, if it gets to 3 defense, it's just enough, just slightly harder for your opponent to get rid of them. So they have to actually dedicate a little bit more to remove them. So this being a 2/3 body for 2 with that effect, that's kind of crazy, right? Like, if I'm running the Death deck, I'm playing this out turn 2 probably every single game. And if my opponent tries to draw, they have to basically slow down their game plan to do it. Now, I'm wondering, hold on. This is my brain going for a second. Give me 1 second here. Let's see. Because one thing that's really interesting in this game right now is ramp. So, if you control a Genesis Contender, this card plays 1, put a card from top of your deck into your resource. I was going to say, imagine if they wanted to ramp, they had to pay an additional resource, but it's put, not draw. So, that could have been really cool. Anyway, let's go on to the next card. Clarity's Warhammer. This is going to be the last of the Team Covenant reveals. This is a 5 cost, 3 white giant hammer. It is a weapon, not a contender weapon, a weapon that can be played on your clash cards. It's unrivaled, and when it enters, trigger enter, your contender gains 4 health. Pretty cool. Attach. Send a clash card you control to Oblivion. You may only do this once per turn. Okay. Pretty cool. So if you attach this, you need to send one of your cards to Oblivion. All right. It's a steep cost, but let's see what it does. Attached clash card gets trigger attack. This clash card gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. If the attached clash card deals clash damage to an opposing contender, the next action card you play this turn, with an initial resource cost of 3 or less, may be played as though its resource cost is 0. At the end of your turn, ready attached clash card. This card can only be attached to rogue clash cards. If this card enters Oblivion from any area, shuffle it back into your deck. Okay. A lot to take in there. I was thinking before I said can only be attached to rogue clash cards, this would work really great with breakthrough characters like the Warcry and things like that. Obviously, because then you get that contender, you get that ability through. I could see this being extremely good with the 5-drop Lyn. She's the 5-drop 5/5 flyer, dealing contenders and then playing an action for 0 resources. This one's going to be pretty cool. Unrivaled means you can only have one in your deck, so you're kind of chancing if you're going to find it or not. So building around this might be interesting. It's also notable that it cannot be searched because it's unrivaled and it's 5 cost or more, so it cannot be searched. So you're basically trying to find it in your deck if you're going to build around it. But I could see this card being impactful. You would think with how beefy this hammer is, it would be pretty impactful. And shout out to Warwick Wong, because this art is phenomenal. I love this art. I think this art pops. So props to you if you're watching. Keep up the good work. All right. And let's move on. We got our second Black Clash buff, Deflating from Fabrica. This time, it had no specific resource cost. So if you look up here, it is a black resource. So if you're to resource this, it would be a black resource. But to play it, it doesn't require you to play black to play this card, which is kind of cool. Now, that said, you can only play this card if your contender is black. So even though it doesn't require specific resource cost, your contender still needs to be black, but you could have a black contender and play this with a green resource, or play it with a blue or a red. It doesn't have to be black. Target Clash card gets -1/-1 until the end of turn. If black was used to play this card, then that Clash card gets an additional -1/-1 until the end of turn. If that card is defeated this turn, draw a card. I kind of like it. It's versatile. Like, if you have to use black to play a card and you only have green left, you can still play this Clash buff to -1/-1, which could be wildly impactful. But I assume you're going to want to try and defeat something so you can draw from it. So keeping a black up would be the most beneficial. If it was played, this card, the Clash card gets an additional. Yeah. And I love the art. Art's great. Great job. Great job, Sunderflex. A lot of cool Clash buffs for this set. Logan Peterson showing us our first black Clash card. Major Dean Battle Hardened. We also get a look at the new Trigger Portal. Okay, so this is where, when I was looking at Major Dean's contender card, Trigger Portal seemed meh, but I assume during this set he's going to get a lot of support. That said, I really like this art. Like, this looks like a badass mother. You know what I'm saying? I would not want to meet this dude on a battlefield because he would whoop my ass. Definitely has a chin on him. That is a nice, juicy chin, but hey. Patty Grimm, great work. 2 cost, Trigger Portal. If the portal was activated by an opponent or an effect they control, you may ready this card and it gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. Okay. So it doesn't come in and activate the portal, but if the portal is triggered or was activated by an opponent or an effect they control, you may ready this card, it gets +1/+1. So it's an Earth card that's a 1/2, but if the portal is activated on your opponent by an opponent or an effect they control, it becomes a 2/3 and then readies. It's also an Alpha Hunter Clash card. So pretty cool. Should be interesting. I'm excited to see the Trigger Portal stuff because I think it could be really cool, really fun. I'm not sure if it's going to be meta defining, but we're going to find out. And the final spoiler for the week was from Corlash. Go check out Corlash's YouTube channel. He does some Alpha Clash content. And this is a cool one. This is a smoke grenade. Again, it's a searchable weapon from some of those cards we talked about earlier. I think, what was it? Box cars or subway car? Hold on. Yeah, so subway car, this is one that you could grab and add it to your hand because it's a 1 cost. So a lot of grenades, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, the Weber grenade package, frag grenade, smoke grenade, unfortunately not sonic or concussion because those cost 2, but those are 2 easily searchable cards that you can pull into your hand from Subway Car. 1 black to play, one resource, 1 black to play. It's a weapon accessory, and it has smoke grenade attached for 1 black, so you would play it for 1 and then you'd still have to pay another 1 to attach it. Unless you have a card like Grenade Launcher and stuff like that, or Siberia, where you can attach this stuff for free. While this weapon is attached, whenever the attached Clash card attacks, you may attach this weapon to target Clash card defending player controls without paying its attach cost. So whenever I read grenades, that first paragraph or that first sentence is basically, I attached my card, when I swing with my card, I throw it onto one of my opponent's clash cards. Okay. While this weapon is attached to a clash card you don't control, this clash card gets -2, -0, and can't obstruct. During that player's primary phase, they may discard one card to send this card to oblivion. Really cool. This is going to be pretty unique because if your person just wants to keep up little chumpy blockers, like 1/1s or 2/1s, stuff like that, you can get rid of them. But this is going to be really good against Torques. It's going to be really good against, maybe not Torques, but basically, if you throw this onto something, not only does it get -2, -1, but it can't obstruct until your opponent pays one to discard one card. That was something I noticed with when I tried to build Weber before he had a lot of the additional grenade help. Was I would throw stuff onto my opponent, and then they just wouldn't do. They wouldn't attack. They wouldn't swing. They wouldn't engage. They could still obstruct, which was really annoying because they just had a big booty, and then they could just obstruct with the frag grenade and nothing happened. So this is kind of cool. This and Sonic Grenade is really more paralyzing your opponent from defending, and then also making sure they cannot do much effects attacking. So like if you throw this onto, let's say, a Lyn, like a 2/2 Lyn, she's now a 2 or a 0/1 Lyn that can't obstruct, and you're not going to attack with it, right? Or all like those little havens and things like that. So really, really cool card. I'm excited to see if Weber and the grenades and the grenade launchers get a glow up, because it would be really cool to see some new stuff in this set that's Alpha Hunter effective. So that is it for the reveals that we've had for the last week in ClashCon. A couple of things coming up. We already have these all revealed, and then Sloppy Gunner is going to be revealing his card today. Merry Christmas, by the way, for everybody, and Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah for those of you out there as well. We have Sloppy Gunner, Charles Barkley, Froglog, Crogdog, Riotin, and then what do you know? On New Year's Eve, your boy, Gamer in the Wardrobe, is going to drop a banger. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I really appreciate you guys watching and hanging out. Any questions, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you, and we'll be back soon. Have a good one.